Here's Sean Payton talking about his team's quarterback situation post Drew Brees.
I think the furthest we went with that would have been, when everyone was healthy and Taysom was playing, call it 8 to 10 plays, maybe a quarterback. I would never discount that, but I would say this, he knows, and so does Jameis, that we're looking to find the guy that's going to lead our team this year. And that doesn't mean the other player is not going to have a role, but certainly it varies. If Jameis is starting, obviously Taysom has a role that expands not only just offensively, but on special teams, et cetera. And if it's the other way around, it's probably a little bit more limited, just relative to what Jameis would do. And then that transition has begun. And, we look at then a lot of what we're going to do offensively based on who's doing it. And then how do we put an offense around those players or that players.
That was specifically Payton talking about the possibility of using both quarterbacks, Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. So, look, I think the goal is they want one guy, and Payton acknowledged that. They don't want to have rotating quarterbacks. You could have a Taysom Hill package if Jameis Winston is the starter, and I guess you could have a Jameis Winston package if Taysom Hill is the starter, but they want a starter. They're not going to go with a two-quarterback platoon system. Right. One of these guys is going to step up and win that job. It's either going to be Winston or it's going to be Hill. And you could make the argument for either guy, and we'll see what happens. Hill did pretty well last year when Drew Brees was injured. Winston had his moments, too, when he had a chance to play, including the touchdown pass on the gimmick play in the playoff game against the Buccaneers. So that's going to be one of the most fascinating camp battles we've seen in a while, Peter. Who emerges between Hill and Winston as the successor to Drew Brees?
If I had to... if I had to guess right now, I'd guess Winston, and it's going to be all up to Winston and how he takes care of the football, both in practice and whenever he plays in the preseason games, because it's clear. I remember somebody very close to Sean Payton when this happened, when they signed Jameis Winston, and I expressed a slight surprise at the Saints finding enough money in the couch cushions, when they were very much against the cap, that they found $1 million or whatever it was to sign Jameis Winston. And and I was told at the time that he will last 5 minutes in New Orleans with Sean Payton if he turns it over. So to me, I think Sean Payton is looking at this as, I've given the guy 1 year, and Drew Brees has given the guy 1 year. Brees really liked Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston loved Drew Brees. And he learned a lot from Brees. And that, one of the big things I'm told he learned, Mike, is learn how to fight another day. In other words, don't make a stupid decision that's going to cost your team a turnover. And so those are the kind of things that we'll see if Jameis Winston has learned that, and we'll see if he's gotten significantly, markedly better. I'm not naive enough to say that just because he played for the Saints for a year and he learned under Payton and Brees that he's not going to turn it over anymore. That's silly. So if he proves he's not going to turn it over anymore, I think he'll be the guy, but he's got to prove it.
Well, and in fairness to Jameis Winston, his 5 years before coming to New Orleans with Sean Payton and Drew Brees consisted of Dirk Cutter, who no one should ever confuse with Bill Walsh, and Mr. No Risk It, No Biscuit, Bruce Arians. He doesn't care about turnovers unless you have too many of them, then you're out the door. No risk it, no biscuit. Now he's with Payton and Brees.
He cares about 30 interceptions, though.
Yes. But when Brees retired, Jameis Winston had a session with the media, visibly emotional about Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who was the undisputed first overall pick in the draft. We knew the Buccaneers wanted him. They tanked for him week 17 of the 2014 season. It's proven. It's established. It's factual. They wanted him instead of Marcus Mariota. Not that either guy ended up being a franchise quarterback. But he came into the league with high expectations. He's yet to fully live up to them. But, Peter, in the year that he did have 30 interceptions, he also became one of the few guys in league history to throw for 5,000 yards. Every other guy who's done it is either in the Hall of Fame, on his way to the Hall of Fame, has an argument for the Hall of Fame. Jameis Winston's the one guy that stands out as who doesn't belong and why. But look, this would be the ultimate reclamation project for Sean Payton if he turns Jameis Winston into the guy he was supposed to be coming out of Florida State.
I mean, he might be able to do that. And I think a little more highly of the coaches that Jameis Winston had than you do, Mike. I think
You're entitled to your opinion. Arians, yes. Cutter, don't get me started on Dirk Cutter, but Arians, yes.
But let's just talk about quarterback coaching with Dirk Cutter, okay? Not head coaching. Those are two different things. I remember when Jameis Winston went in for his pre-draft visit to Tampa, and he sat down with Dirk Cutter. Dirk Cutter noticed that, I forget how many interceptions he threw his last year at Florida State, 14, 17, I forget what number it was. But at one point, Jameis Winston said to Dirk Cutter, I've got confidence I can make every throw. And Dirk Cutter said to him, in essence, well, it's good to have that confidence, but I'm looking at some of these throws, and you shouldn't have made them. So maybe you shouldn't be all that confident about throw X, Y, and Z, where you throw it into really tight coverage and you throw it right to the defense. So I think Dirk Cutter was hard on Jameis Winston at the requisite times, and his message just didn't get through. Would that have gotten through with Payton in those 5 years? Who knows? Maybe yes. But I think that it's faulty logic to say that he went to the wrong team to cure his turnover-itis. I think, we don't know that. And if Sean Payton does fix him now, then, we'll tip the cap to Sean Payton. But I think that he has to show that he can do it, Mike.
When Cutter became the head coach, probably less hands-on coaching of Jameis Winston. It reminds me of what happened in Cleveland when Freddie Kitchens became the head coach and was no longer coaching Baker Mayfield directly. Mayfield went off the rails in 2019. The other reality is this. I think we can agree Sean Payton, one of the finest quarterback coaches in the history of the game. Other than Andy Reid right now, I can't imagine another guy who Winston would be in as good of a position with. And obviously, Reid's got his quarterback for the foreseeable future and beyond. Payton doesn't, and this is his chance. And it's a great contrast in styles. Go ahead.
You know what else he has? He has an offense with a truly great wide receiver, a truly great running back, and two really good tackles. Okay, so, and look, the Saints are in the not rebuilding phase of their post-Breeze life because they can still be really good. But they have a lot of offensive elements. You look at Traquan Smith even. They have a lot of offensive elements that I believe are really good, and just add QB is really what they need to do. And we're going to see if Winston can take advantage of that.
And the last point in this regard, Sean Payton will not hesitate to make a change if whoever wins that job as of week 1 isn't performing to his satisfaction. That pressure will be there from week 1 through week 18. Still weird to say week 18, but there will be 18 weeks for whoever starts to falter and possibly yield to the other guy.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.